Hi everyone, it's week 6, and we're not officially starting the second half of the semester, but we are starting our second big project. We have a little extra time to work on it. This is week 6. Look, finally got the date right. This was wrong at first. As I said, we're starting our second big project, this academic multi-source synthesis essay 2. And what you're writing about this time, the umbrella you have, is adult learning. Eventually you're going to be writing an academic multi-source synthesis essay about some problem, some complex problem that you see or you experience. Now, whatever you start with there, we need to problematize it and break it down. It's real easy to make that too general, and we'll talk about that more as it goes on, but I wanted in the back of your mind, look, I'm going to be writing a paper about something that hurts learning. So as you read these articles, see what they think hurts learning. That's not what you think hurts learning. Your paper is different than theirs. But see what they think hurts learning and how you feel about it. Take some notes on that. If you're still keeping a reading journal, yay. If you're not, maybe you want to start. It's really good to know what each of these sources says. Now the required reading this week is Rich from the book, and Mezirow from the book, and Frere, that we have a link to right here. Rich is short. It's a speech she gives. So written out, it's very, very short. And she gave it in the 1970s. So what, 40, 50 years ago? She gives this speech at a women's college. And so it might seem just totally, useless at this point. But even though her context and her time was different, the message she has about learning is pretty on point. I mean, I think you'll enjoy it. A lot of people quote her, but please don't oversimplify her. Anyway, so you have a form on her. Then you have a form on Frere. Frere is not easy. Frere and Mezirow are the reason that you turned in your last paper on a Friday, because I was trying to give you the weekend to work on these. They take a long time. Frere, you can read multiple times. You're not his audience. He's writing to other PhDs. He's writing to educators. He's deep. It's going to take a while. He's writing to the audience you're writing to. Take a look at him. Read him. Write down what you understand of him in your own words so you own it. And the parts that are really difficult, pull them out. Ask your classmates about them. Ask me about them. Mezerow's not that hard to follow. You can understand him easily enough. He's hard to quote. He's talking about transformative learning and autonomous thinking. Both of those are big concepts moving forward. Both of them are important to your upcoming papers. To help you with him, I've included Cranton. Cranton is actually talking directly about transformative learning, and she's teaching teachers. So she explains it better. She draws it out. She's more understandable to me. And she also has an example of a student in there that you might want to use in your papers in the future. So take a look. So let's see. This one that I haven't mentioned yet is another Hooks chapter. It's not in your book. It's from one of her books that I have apparently lent out to somebody. I do that, and then I don't know who I lent them out to. Anyway, it talks about the student-teacher relationship and holistic teaching, holistic learning. The idea that it's not just about the facts in the lecture. It's about the people in the classroom. That the teacher has to be authentic and real and teach and treat students like they are authentic and real. That we really have to know each other in order to understand and communicate the best we can, which would help our learning. She's not required. Not yet, anyway, but it should be worth reading. All right, so you're reading 3, doing forums for them. You're used to that by now. You know how to do that. We have synthesis paragraphs again. You know how to do that. I make them harder and tougher each time. I'm asking more from you because we're hopefully building on skills. So one thing it reminds you to do is you have to make sure always in your synthesis paragraphs you have that 3 to 8 sentences talking about how the two sources relate. But this time, you have to stress their differences. It's always the right thing. It's always the best thing to do when you're doing synthesis. But this time you have to. Your job is to explain how the two sources are different. Alford and Mezirow both say that students need to talk in order to learn. That's the same. So when we're stressing differences, Alfred says they need to talk in order to better understand their own ideas. So they can, when they go to writing their papers, they can write out their own ideas more clearly because they understand them better themselves by having verbalized them, by practicing them out loud. Mezirow says there's a lot of reasons you need to talk. One of the reasons you need to talk is you need to hear your ideas and hear other people's ideas, because then you can compare them. Because then you can decide if you have the right idea or not. You have a chance for transformation then. If you don't know of those other ideas, you can't critically reflect on your own. So he thinks you can really learn better by assessing your own thinking and thinking about it more deeply and perhaps changing your thinking. Alfred doesn't say that you're going to change your thinking. He just wants you to know your own thinking. That's a difference. So if I was talking about in these paragraphs, I could clearly write 3 or 4 sentences more about how they're different, but they're both suggesting the same thing for different reasons. Then you, if you want to get your thinking in there, you would say, I can agree with both of them, but probably the most important reason is, so you've springboarded off of them. Since you're always trying to show your thinking is more important than theirs, that this is your paper, not theirs, it's great to share their differences because you need them for diverse perspectives, top box rubric. But you also need to show your recognizable and significant thought process. So if you say which of those are better or which third option is better, that's like the Holy Grail, man. That's it. Woo! That's what we're looking for. Yeah, we're looking for. Okay, so again, you'll need at least 2 paragraphs. One of them has to have 2 or 3 sources in them. At least one of your 2 paragraphs, 2 times you indent, at least one of them has to have 2 or 3 sources in. It has to introduce those sources, build their credibility, talk about their differences. Look, introduce, quote, analyze, discuss the 2 sources, or you get a 0 for the assignment, because that's the whole goal. The whole goal is for you to practice that skill. So if you don't do it, you haven't practiced the skill you need. You're getting a 0. By this point, you shouldn't have any flaws in your MLA. I've been correcting them left and right. I've been pointing it out and pointing it out and pointing it out. This will be your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th assignment that calls for you to set up things in MLA. I've pointed them out. Get it perfect now. Flaws in your buns, that's going to give you 10%. If you still don't know what a bun is, we have problems. You should contact me. And starting your paragraphs with sources, meaning in another article, according to Mezirow, even if you don't quote them in that first line, you are talking about sources in that first line. If you start an idea with sources versus your thinking, that's a minus 20%. Okay, and of course, transitions matter, topic sentences matter, sentence level problems matter. So you can get small deductions for that. But these are the big ones I really need you to work on for this assignment. All right. That's week 6 in a nutshell. Week 7 is open, so you can always jump ahead and start working on it if you want to. But please read really carefully. I asked a 111B student this week. They passed their synthesis essay. And I said, okay, what's the difference between when you turned it in when you were in 111 and now in 111B? And he said, I went back and I read the articles, and I really knew them. I could talk about them more deeply, and I realized that I had to connect them better. That's the difference between getting an acceptable in 111 or not getting an acceptable in 111. You have to understand those articles no matter how long it takes you. You have to be able to explain them. All right, if you need me, I'm here. Talk to you soon.